That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode 153 of Hardest Part of the Ring Dark, the podcast where just two friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling.
It's so mysterious and edgy.
It is. We're not sure how this is going to go, but we have set ourselves a little time limit, listener. We're not going to tell you what that is because we might fuck it up and go way over. But basically, my name is Adam. I host this podcast most of the time. Sam is here. He does a lot of hosting as well these days.
Hello.
And we decided that we're going to do a mini bonus review of WWE Money in the Bank 2021.
Nice.
I fucked
Smooth.
my dates again.
I like it.
Why have we decided to do this, Sam?
Do you know what? Money in the Bank was better than it had any right to be, and I want to talk about it.
And I feel the same way. Sam enjoyed it a lot. He said it was good on our WhatsApp chat. Brett and John haven't got around to watching it yet. We have literally just recorded next week's episode, so that's a bit of a headfuck.
Is this the most organised we've ever been?
Maybe.
We once did a live show.
Yeah, absolutely crazy that is. But yes, we've just recorded episode 154, which is a review of Sam. No, it's not. It's what's it called? Hell Comes to Frogtown. It's our first WWFC episode. Brett hosted it, and I can tell you now, it was fucking great, and it was really well researched, and I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yes,
so that's coming next week.
It was a thing.
Yes. So we thought, let's do a quick chat about Money in the Bank. The last podcast, 152, was Follow the Feud. Go and listen to those if you want. We've been doing the undertakings as well. They've been great. We haven't done a lot of talking about current wrestling, but Sam and I are here to do it right now, and we're going to do it after this break.
Oh! Back first to the apron goes Andrade Cien Almas.
Money in the Bank 2021 was held at the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. Fort Worth
in Texas. I've done the stadium graphics for the Dickies Arena before for a boxing event.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Did you have a little chuckle when you read the word Dickie?
No,
because you're over 30. We haven't even got.
Do you know what? If it was called like Vagina's Arena, I'd be in fits of laughter. It's just
you would be.
Yeah.
Me too. This is the least prepared we've ever been for a podcast because we were going to talk about Money in the Bank at the start of what is now next week's episode, and then we thought, no, let's do a proper little chat. We don't have a proper running order. Sam's just rushed something up, but I can tell you that the comms team was Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, and then we had Jimmy Smith and Corey Graves and Byron Saxton as well. What do you think about Pat McAfee? I think I hate him.
I think I hate him, but I think I'm meant to hate him. Like I think
Vince loves him.
Yeah.
Because he hits all of the like catchphrase. He keeps repeating the arena where we are. He says, "Oh, and this is going to happen now on Friday Night SmackDown." Obviously, he didn't say that during Money in the Bank, but he says the channel. He says he gets it all, doesn't he? He hits every mark.
It's weird with like what you want from a commentary team because I think AEW set the bar quite high with how kind of factual they are with their commentary, and I think kind of comparatively WWE is much more of the universe must be loving this, and it's just like, oh come on, it's really annoying. But I think it's by design like that.
Yeah. What was the card, Sam?
Pre-show we had the Usos versus the Mysterios for the SmackDown tag titles.
Usos won.
Yeah, the Usos victorious, bringing all the gold to the table.
My first thought was, that's a shame that it was pre-show, but actually maybe a stroke of genius because it's the pre-show, the first match in front of this massive crowd.
Yeah, I feel like this maybe did have a place on the main card, but I mean, the card in and of itself was quite long, 3.5 hour pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Main card itself. So we started off with the women's Money in the Bank match. Alexa Bliss versus Asuka versus Liv Morgan versus Naomi versus Natalia versus Nikki, a superhero versus Tamina versus Selena Vega, newly returned from her getting fired and then her husband getting fired and then her coming back.
She's been doing a bit of twitching, but she's over that now.
Yeah, it's funny that she was doing Twitch until her husband lost a stable income and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, maybe I should get on with a full-time job. Saying that, Alexa Alexa Black. Man, that's interesting. Alistair Black, no longer Alistair Black, Mordecai Black, now on AEW. So,
of course.
it's cool.
Breaking news from hardest part of the ring there.
Yeah, we're definitely not 2 weeks behind.
And also, you can make a decent amount of money from Twitch, and there's no shame in that, right? You don't need to go and get a full-time job. Some people do it.
Sure, probably.
This might be our future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not that person.
No. Okay.
Next on the card, we had AJ and Omos taking on the Viking Raiders for the Raw Tag titles. Following that, Lashley versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. We had Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's title. I can't wait to get Rhea Ripley off like the cards in general, so I never have to say her name again.
Oh, great.
The main draw of the Money in the Bank, I say that, kind of, obviously there were two main draws of the Money in the Bank, but neither of them were actually the main event. But the men's Money in the Bank, Drew McIntyre, John Morrison, Kevin Owens, King Nakamura, Ricochet, Riddle, and Seth Rollins. And then the main event was Roman versus Edge for the Universal title.
So we're not going to pick out loads of key matches. We're not going to do best of the rest, worst of the rest. It's a mini podcast. We've set ourselves a time limit. You can probably tell by the pace at which we're attempting to talk, and sometimes being successful, sometimes failing. We're going to talk a bit about the card, most of the card, and then we're going to talk at length or for a longer period of time about the main event match, because let's face it, it was a banger and lots of stuff happened, and then something very big happened at the end. So, any of the other matches, Sam, that you particularly enjoyed or want to mention or talk about?
So, I would say very briefly, I really enjoyed the squash match between Lashley and Kofi Kingston. I think, I realise a squash match maybe doesn't have a place on a pay-per-view, but I think kind of to really demonstrate how dominant a champion Lashley was, I think it was a really brave move, and I think kind of the way Kofi sold it was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm in two minds on this. I think Kofi is an extremely good sort of sympathetic babyface. To get beaten down like that, you're going to have huge sympathy for him, and it's going to put Lashley over as a massive heel. But then we've seen fucking Kofi have this treatment at Brock Lesnar's hands, and it sort of felt like, could it have been someone else?
So, I mean, obviously, since then, Raw has played out, right? So we know kind of where it's going with Lashley. But in my head, kind of based on the result of the men's Money in the Bank match with Big E kind of going over, who I don't feel like I actually wrote in the original list of people involved in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
but he won that match as well.
Too.
He was in it and he won it.
Yeah, good point.
But I felt like kind of having Kofi get squashed and Big E win the Money in the Bank, I thought, you know what? Oh, are they tying together two storylines here? Are we going to have a kind of Big E maybe going in not with the surprise briefcase, but with the kind of prepared one?
Yeah. Actually, that would make a lot of sense. But now we know that's
obviously
not
that's not the plan, and I think that's a missed opportunity for WWE, if I'm honest. But
I guess Kofi can recover from this kind of thing. It's not really going to affect his standing at all, is it? The fact that he's had this match now. If anything, he's going to be more popular.
I was going to say, this makes me love Kofi even more, because he is someone who, if he's at the top of the card, he does a great job. If he has to job to someone, he'll do a great job. He reminds me a lot of Mankind in that way, of just kind of whatever the role you want him to do, he'll do it, and he'll do it amazingly. And I think that's a really beneficial thing to have in such a stacked roster. Yeah.
And I know you absolutely love Bobby Lashley. Maybe we can have a proper chat about that on another episode, a future episode. But yeah,
I'm into it, but I'm not into the new direction with Goldberg. That's just depressing.
I feel really deflated now you've said
I
Goldberg's
know.
name.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was reading the Raw spoilers, and oh my god, I was loving a lot of the directions they were going in, and then when I heard, and then Goldberg's music hit, it's like, really? Am I reading the wrong Raw results? Is this from the last year or the year before? Or Anyway, moving on. I'll pick out a match. Got to be Charlotte versus Rhea. Obviously, they had a fantastic match at last year's WrestleMania in front of absolutely no crowd. We've seen them face off since then, but to see them do this in front of this huge crowd and to get the reactions they were getting, some negative, which I'm sure you'll touch upon in a second, but mostly just some great reactions, some great pops. Pops are back. Pops are back in our life, Sam.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah.
Can't believe
Full
it.
popping.
Absolutely incredible. But yeah, I just they did a great match. Obviously, Charlotte is one of the greatest wrestlers in world wrestling, not just one of the greatest women, and she's kind of back on track. I think she had a little bit of a weird period, but yeah, she's great, and I love Rhea.
The thing with Charlotte is she is absolutely top draw, and the thing is that you kind of got to have someone who is equal to her to sort of really make her credible, and I think kind of the best way they can do that at the moment is taking breaks with Charlotte and then bringing her back, which is exactly what they've done here.
Yeah. We did sort of joke about the fact that it's Charlotte on a pay-per-view, which means she's going to win the title, didn't we?
Yeah,
I was hoping Rhea might keep it.
I think probably Rhea winning would have been a better result here, but I think kind of again, kind of like with the benefit of hindsight of kind of what happened with the cash-in with Nikki following this, it sort of makes sense to have Charlotte lose. It's not going to hurt her credibility as much as Rhea's.
Yeah.
But the match itself, I thought it was a really good match. I think kind of ruined a little bit by the crowd chanting for "We Want Becky." I think that was kind of really disrespectful of both of them.
Well, Becky keeps doing these little teases, and I quite like it really because it's sort of like fun trolling where she she posts a picture of her outside the arena or whatever, and it's like, oh my god, is she gonna come back? It will be huge when she does come back.
She's changed her location on Twitter to Inside Charlotte's Head. That's pretty good.
Oh, that is fantastic.
But this was an excellent match.
Yeah, it was. It was good. Any other moments? What about the Money in the Bank matches overall? I mean, I've got to admit, the women's one I watched whilst I was working because, wasn't expecting to be podding about it. I've since read that it was kind of disjointed at times, but every time there was a fun moment, I tuned in and I thought there were quite a few fun moments.
I was indifferent to the women's Money in the Bank, and I think Alexa Bliss should have won it. I don't think... I'm not into Nikki, a superhero. I think she... Yeah, it's just
very weird.
It just doesn't work for me at all, but the crowd seemed happy with it. I think kind of the match itself was passable. The men's Money in the Bank, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just wanted to say very briefly, I think there was a lot of talk for Liv Morgan saying that she should have won that. And also a lot of talk of WWE misreading what the crowd want. Like people like Liv Morgan and Naomi getting huge pops and then Nikki not so much. But then they're putting a rocket behind her. But yes, the men's. And actually that's going to be interesting moving forward, isn't it? Now they're getting these crowd reactions. They're really going to know who's working out and who's not. Speaking of which, in the men's, we had, that's a pretty strong selection of wrestlers right there.
Yeah, I think the men's one stands out in comparison to the women's one because other than maybe John Morrison, you could see any of those people winning this match, and it kind of, yeah.
Maybe not Ricochet.
No, even Ricochet, you could see him winning.
He deserves it, but you can't see them booking it.
You could definitely see him winning the briefcase. As for kind of cashing it in successfully is a completely different question. I don't think Ricochet would successfully do that, but kind of Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, King Nakamura, even Riddle and Seth Rollins. I mean, we'll talk about Seth in a bit, but yeah. This match overall was an absolute spot fest, and I was fine with that. I think the crowd loved it. I loved it. Just, yeah, a lot of big spots.
Agreed. A lot of fun. Ricochet was great throughout the whole thing. And
oh my god, like that jump from Ricochet, right?
Yeah. Well, where he was on the ladder and he springboards off the rope. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Incredible balance. And the ending, obviously, what a moment to have Big E win with that huge ending. It's going to be need to be renamed to a huge ending. And then just a great pop and the facials that he was doing. And I'm pleased that this is the route they're going with it.
Yeah, me too.
A bit different from the whole way that Kofi got there.
So convinced that Drew McIntyre was going to win, and I was so not ready for that, and I'm kind of glad that Jinder and his pals just kidnapped him, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if I was glad, but because I guess people would have predicted him to win it, but I don't know if it would have been a popular win.
I don't think it would have been. I think unfortunately Drew McIntyre's slightly missed the boat, not through any fault of his own, because he was the champion of the pandemic era.
Yeah,
but it just kind of.
Well, he'll always be remembered for that. He carried that championship.
We have a shout out for Kevin Owens too, going through the ladder.
Oh yes,
massive.
That looked like he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah, always willing to put his body on the line.
Let's talk about the main event then, because I've had a bit of a weird relationship with wrestling. The Euros has meant that I haven't watched any, and I haven't even been keeping an eye on SmackDown. And my beloved Roman Reigns, the one guy who's kept me really interested over the last few months. But now I'm fully back in. I'm fully back on board. Seeing his entrance, his new music is so perfect, and it was just absolutely brilliant. And by the time these two were facing off, even though the crowd seems slightly split at the start, which is a shame because I'd like to have seen more boos for Roman, they did get there in the end. I was very, very hyped for this.
This was a continued excellent match from Roman Reigns, who has been putting on a string of excellent matches in these main events. And, him going over was the right thing. I think I would have been genuinely upset if Edge had won this. I don't think he's the right person to topple Roman and what they've built. And I really I know we're jumping straight to the end, but I love the fact that Seth Rollins got himself involved with everything, because I think what they're doing with Seth at the moment is absolutely fascinating, especially with him before this match cutting a promo saying no one's going to cut in line before me anymore. And then I love the fact that we know we're going to get Seth v Roman at some point. Yeah. But they're not going to it yet. I love the fact that this match ended with two other matchups. Yeah, for sure. And obviously, should we cut? Is there anything else you want to say about the match before we get to that? The match was good. It was a good match that was serviceable. It was
quite slow initially, but then when it all kicked off, and then we had those spears on the outside through the barricade, and then the chair stuff. And then obviously the Usos came out, and then you had the Mysterios dealing with them. It was all a bit like Attitude Era, like chaos.
It was quite similar to their WrestleMania match, but without Daniel Bryan. It was a lot of...
Which I loved.
Yeah, so it's a good match. No problems with it whatsoever, but I think the ending eclipses the whole thing, to be honest.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I was watching it. I was sat in my office watching it on my laptop, fucking hot, because it's been baking hot, sitting here basically sweating. I also knew what was coming.
Did you?
Because I'd seen it. Aww. Yeah, I'd seen... Well, I'd seen that John Cena was that had appeared at Money in the Bank, so I had a rough idea. Even so, when his music hit and the crowd went mad, I honestly got proper goosebumps. It was like instant chills down my arms and down my neck, and the first time I felt that properly like that for a long, long, long time. That reaction from the crowd was insane, because they wouldn't have been expecting it at all, would they?
Such an unbelievable pop. Michael Cole literally explodes and is replaced by 20 other Michael Coles. It's so wild. And the thing is that John Cena is a bit of the perfect person to bring back for the first crowd. He's still relevant in a wrestling context. This isn't a Goldberg or a Hulk Hogan or something stupid like that. John Cena is a legitimate person.
He's 44. He's not past it.
It's fine.
I think he's nearly there, but
I think it'll be really interesting. I think Roman's still going to go over here. I don't think Cena's the one to displace him, but I think Cena is possibly the most credible challenger to date.
Yeah. Because you did wonder who's next. If it's not going to be Seth, then who else can it be? This is absolutely brilliant. To have this match coming up now, because you know that Cena's going to do an incredible job promoting it.
Yeah.
And you know it will be absolute box office, that main event at SummerSlam.
I think this is the thing, is that as an advert for SummerSlam, what a success. I am hyped for SummerSlam because of this.
And can you imagine the promos that Roman's going to be cutting as well? The stuff he'll say about Cena is going to be fantastic. And we are hoping to get together for that SummerSlam, aren't we? It's on a Saturday night, so we might even be able to get together on a Sunday around someone's house, assuming everything's okay. No, let's not even reference COVID. I'm hyped for that. Watching it together, maybe doing a podcast afterwards. It should be damn good.
Yeah, hopefully so. It's all kicking off, and we're going to be, as you said already, we're going to be doing a podcast on SummerSlam, so something to look forward to.
Yeah. So we did it, guys. We set ourselves a little challenge of doing this in 20 minutes. because we did just record another podcast, but we were really keen to get a mini review out for you. If you like this, let us know on social media at Hardest Part Pod, or email us hardestpartofthering@gmail.com, because we might do some more of these mini reviews. Basically, if we watch some wrestling in our spare time, we enjoy it and we want to chat about it briefly, we will. We'll do the full reviews as well. But until next time on the episode we've already recorded, I've been Adam. Goodbye.
I've been Sam. Thank you.
And that was a new ending. And we're feeling a bit too smug. So let's bring it back and say that was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.